Ralph Lindeman, I know you went down to the Mountain West Conference Championships, hoping that the guys could pull out an upset win. Didn't happen. Let's start with the ladies though, because there's some good performances there for sure.
Awesome. First, I can't say enough about Mahela Norris. A lot's been said about her over the last 3 months, but she is an amazing young lady. And she, in the steeplechase, running the second steeplechase of her life. First one was 2 weeks earlier. Wins the conference going away from a girl who was ranked number 3 in the country ahead of her. And she ran in lane 2 the first 6 laps of the race outside Ava Cohen's from New Mexico and via Israel. Runs on her outside shoulder for 6 laps, so she's running farther, an extra 2 meters per lap or so that's 12 meters right there. And then with after the last water barrier, she pulled ahead by a couple meters over the water barrier. And from 150 on in, I think she put 20 meters on her, blew her away, and she ran 9:44, smashes her own school record of 10:05 that she had set 2 weeks earlier, runs the 5th fastest time in the nation in her second steeplechase ever, and then comes back the next night and runs the 5,000, and once again sits on the New Mexico favorite, Charlotte Prouse's, sits right on her tail. This time she didn't run it in lane 2 and sat right right behind her for 11 laps of the race, and then just blew her away again she came just a little over a second away from J.C. Smith's school record in the 5,000, put herself in the top 13 in the NCAA. But we've chosen she's not going to run that. We'll talk about the NCAA preliminaries in a minute, but I want to mention 2 performances that some might look at and say, well, what was special about that? But Maria Mettler in December, what you have to realize is in December, Maria, coming off of great cross-country fitness, a cross-country season that got canceled in the fall, right? She'd been looking forward to America's race at West Point on Veterans Day, and so the first weekend in December, we sent her to a race, 10,000 meters on the track, California. She ran the 15th best time in NCAA history. Not this year, NCAA history, 15th best. At the time, it was nation leading. It was nation leading for a short period of time, and then some professionals ran quite a bit faster, and it's still one of the top times in the NCAA. But she'd been that meet injured her a little bit, but she's so dedicated and devoted. She cross-trained throughout January, February, March, April. Started running really in late April, just a little bit to tolerance, and added some miles on in early May. And she said, I want to go to the conference meet. I want to run. I want to earn myself into the NCAA championships. And first of all, you have to understand that the Mountain West Conference in women's distance running is maybe the second best conference in the country, slightly behind the Pac-12, and sometimes in some events even better than the Pac-12, like in the steeplechase. And Maria was 5th in the race, ran an NCAA qualifying time, so she's going to run next week. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But just a tremendous effort. In the first race she's run in 6 months since December. And just so proud of her for the effort, and for the effort that's gone into it for the past 5 months of rehabbing herself just religiously with visits to the trainer, doing exercises, trying to cross-train in the swimming pool, on the bicycle, on the elliptical, and it all paid off. And she's going to be even fitter next week, and fitter yet going into NCAA championships in Eugene. So, and then there's another one. We had several women had personal bests, seasonal bests, but Michelle Roca went into the meet ranked 3rd in the conference, and we were really excited about her chances. She's such a hard worker. So dedicated and committed. It's just she thrives on her work ethic, and she worked so hard in that race in the preliminary round that she went after it so hard that she crowded a hurdle, tripped up. The hurdle went flying into one lane. She went flying into another lane, and she was dead out of the race. Actually, the runner that she took out from the flying hurdle got reinstated into the final. because it affected her race. But Michelle wasn't disqualified, but she wasn't able to advance to the final after the accident. And she just runs with so much heart. And so I think our women, well, they should have inspired our men. And we had a good day, a decent day on Thursday and Friday in the decathlon and the 10,000, and we still felt like going into Saturday we had a shot at Colorado State, and there were 15 events on Saturday, and we only met or exceeded my expectations in 5 of the 15, and so that was disappointing. And yet, you don't want to take anything away from some great conference champions in the 1500. Sam Gilman runs an amazing race. Finishes just 500ths off his PR, which is a lot. That's pretty impressive in a conference championship meet. Ran 3:40:33, a super time. That's the equivalent of about a 3:56 or 3:57 mile for those that want to put it in some perspective. A great race. So we had some great races like that. And a guy I want to really single out is Zach Larrier. So Zach comes to us from football after spring football. So we're talking, the 1st of April. Had some, little injuries and things to deal with, but overcame them all. And he ends up winning the conference meet in the 200 meters, and runs a leg on our championship 4x4, and runs an anchor leg on our second place runner-up 4x1. And what he brought to the team, not just in how fast he ran and the conference titles that he helped us get, but he brought a lot to our culture. And that says a lot for the young man. It says a lot for the football team. I don't know if you remember in our Friday night meet on May the 7th, I think there were about 40 football players there watching him run. And so he brought something from just an element of that football team's culture. Gives me a lot of respect for him and for the football team and for what Coach Calhoun and Coach Thiessen and the whole rest of them all do. And I can't wait to watch this young man play football. They need to find a place for him on the field, but he brought so much to our team, and we're just so proud of him and the fact that, after a grueling spring football season, he was able to come out and really help us and have some fun for himself. He ran the same stadium he won a state title, California state title in as a high school senior 2-3 years ago, I guess, right? I mean, I can't count them anymore after losing 2020 in this indoor season. But so we had a good conference meet. We didn't have a great conference meet. And, again, you just can't overlook contributions of guys like Wyatt Murphy and the decathlon coming back. Braden Holcomb sets a freshman record by 500 points in the decathlon, scores 71.07. I think he accumulated 5 or 7 personal bests in individual events going into that. Our pole vaulters go 1-2-3, 1-2-3-6-8. Scored a lot of points, so you don't want to overlook those things, And the pole vault, the men's pole vault, bears repeating a little bit, and before I move on to the NCAA prelims, but so Greg Skoggy and Mitch Leip, our 2 seniors, battling out for another conference title for about the 8th time since they've been, well, no, not 8, because they missed an outdoor championship in 20 and an indoors this year. So the 6th time they're battling out for a conference title. They each had won one, and they tie, so it goes to a jump off. They get another jump. They both miss. The bar gets lowered 5 centimeters. They both miss. They're now just totally worn out. It was a 6-jump off, and finally Greg makes a bar that Mitch doesn't, and Greg gets the conference title. But those 2 young men what they've done for our program through the years and this year is just amazing. And those 2 young men have made so now that we're going to segue into next week's NCAA preliminary rounds, and they made they had a difficult choice, because the pole vault next week at the NCAA preliminaries at Texas A&M is on Wednesday at 2 o'clock, and they're graduating at 11 o'clock, and can't be done. You can't put them on a rocket to get them there in time to warm up and compete in the meet. And they both made a choice for graduation, and Coach Stefan, their event coach, and myself and the rest of the staff support them 100% in doing that. We understand that. They've both been to the NCAA championships, indoors. Greg was an All-American there, so can't blame him for that. But with that, let's move to next week.
Absolutely.
And the NCAA championship preliminary rounds at Texas A&M. We've got 11 people qualified. We actually had 13, and these two, opted out for a great reason. And so we're taking 11. We're excited about their chances. Obviously, Mahela should be a favorite to advance to the NCAA finals in Eugene, Oregon, which happens to be her home state. That would be special for her to run in the new Hayward field again and run her end her collegiate career at Hayward Field in Eugene, Oregon. And Maria Mettler certainly looks strong. Michelle Roca gets another chance after crashing into that hurdle last week. She gets another chance at the NCAA prelims. On the men's side, we were hoping to get a 4x4 in. They took 24 teams. We were 26th. Yeah, so right, that was that hurt a little bit. But we've got a steepler in. We got two 1,500 meter runners in. We got two vaulters in. We got a high jumper in. So we're in good shape. We got people competing every day. We have two throwers in, a javelin thrower and a discus thrower. Mostly underclassmen. Of the 11 we're taking, 9 are underclassmen. Mahela gets the good fortune of not having to race until Saturday night. So she'll be able to be at graduation, and we'll fly her out on Thursday. And Maria runs a 10,000 meters on Thursday night, and she is going to. We're trying to arrange a graduation ceremony, a commissioning ceremony there in Texas A&M. We have what we hope will be a big surprise for her. And we'll let you know next week how that turned out when we talk about the NCAA prelims. But we're excited going there. It's the biggest. It's a stepping stone to the biggest stage in collegiate track and field, and we've got some that we think will be there in Eugene, Oregon, in 2 weeks. So we're excited about it. And unlike last week when we were scrambling from final exams and then had to take commercial flights to Fresno. We went there on 3 different flights depending on what final exam schedules were. We had 4 of them that still had to take a final exam on Monday, and so I think that that always affects you a little bit, especially when a young man tells you it's the hardest class he's ever taken at the academy, and so that probably was on his mind a little bit, over the championships. But this week finals are in our rearview mirror, and so kids be excited. They'll be rested. We've got a Mettler into Austin, and so we're looking forward to a meet where they're going to be rested and ready.
Awesome. Good deal. Ralph, thank you so much for the time, and have fun with those athletes out there.
Thanks. We'll see you next week.